Hey Ryan, did you hear about the National Science Foundation giving $550,000 to develop an AI to detect and fight microaggressions? I did, and it's concerning from a free speech perspective. Can you tell me a bit about it? Sure. In September 2022, the National Science Foundation awarded $550,000 to researchers at the University of Washington to use AI machine learning techniques to detect and intervene in what they call the language of social discrimination, giving as examples sexist, racist, homophobic microaggressions, condescension, objectification, and dehumanizing metaphors. What are microaggressions? Microaggressions are statements that might intentionally or unintentionally make a member of a minority group feel uncomfortable, unwelcome, or offended on the basis of their identity, like asking someone where they're from. I've been meaning to ask you, where are you from? Oops, is that a microaggression? Not really. I just had my 23andMe done and look for any opportunity to tell people where I'm from. But asking a non-white person where they're really from when they say they're from somewhere in America, that could be rude or a microaggression. So they want to build an AI to detect unintentional offenses? Is that even possible? It's certainly difficult. One of the hardest things for an AI to do is to pick up on subtleties of language and meanings that change with very nuanced context. Sarcasm is maybe an intractable problem for a machine. How can it tell that you're saying one thing when you mean the opposite? Do you think AI will ever get there? I mean, how many times has someone read a text message from you and got a completely different tone than you intended? Autocorrect certainly doesn't help. I mean, what the duck? And that's a human person who knows you and all of the relevant cultural context misinterpreting your text. AI is even worse, which in the case of detecting microaggressions means a lot of false positives and false negatives. What about universities? Haven't we seen microaggression controversies there? Yeah, that's another reason to be nervous. Over the years, FIRE has seen calls from students at a few schools to make microaggressions punishable offenses. Many schools even have bias reporting systems where they encourage students to report on their classmates for things like microaggressions. Schools even use monitoring software to surveil their students on social media for potential safety threats. It wouldn't be a huge surprise to see them begin to use software to monitor students' posts for microaggressions. NSF is part of the government. Does this grant violate the First Amendment? No, not at this phase. Simply funding research can't violate the First Amendment. If the government did something like mandate that social media platforms adopt this AI program, then that would be a First Amendment violation. If public universities started using the software to punish students for microaggressions, that would be a First Amendment violation. If any of that happens, you can be sure FIRE will be there to fight it, and we'll be keeping watch. But for now, this just seems like a misguided use of a lot of money. I'm worried. Aren't you? I'm a technological optimist. I've written with Ron Collins that the successors to AI technologies like DALL-E and Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT will be the stuff of science fiction, the means to turn your imagination into reality. But with how much of our lives now exist online, in writing, and subject to various forms of algorithmic scanning and manipulation, and essentially under certain forms of surveillance, it doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to see how the government and giant corporations could weaponize this technology to turn from fantasy to dystopia. So we should be extremely careful applying these technologies in ways that could be used to censor. Even if you think these tools are being made with good intentions, you never know who might have their hands on them tomorrow. I think I understand. Thanks, Ryan. You're very welcome, Ryan.